When I had my consulting business, it was almost entirely based on word of mouth advertising. And if you've got a small business, you're likely in the same position. And if all of your business is dependent on word of mouth, you might be in trouble. So here are 5 ways that you can expand beyond just your own circle so that people actually know about you. I remember sitting down with one of my mentors. We were in his restaurant and he pointed across the street to this furniture store. And he said, "You see that store over there? They make the most amazing furniture, but you know what their problem is? No one knows they exist. Beyond this little neighborhood, they have no business. Nobody knows that they're as good as they are. So how are they ever supposed to grow beyond just this little neighborhood?" And you might be feeling the same way with your company, where you do something amazing and the people that know about you love you, but beyond that, your business is not set up to scale. So as you think about scaling, again, 5 simple ways to grow your influence and grow your exposure beyond just the people in your own backyard. Way number 1, start producing content. So whatever's comfortable for you, it could be videos like this, it might be blog posts, it might be a podcast, you might bring on a photographer. Before Trainual started, I hired a photographer. People thought I was crazy, but she followed me around to meetings and coffee shops and started taking pictures that I could post on Instagram to build up a cadence of posting content. Creating content is really important, however it's comfortable for you. You just have to start getting the reps in, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to use ads to get the message out there. You've got to start with some content. Way number 2, actually use ads. So now you're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're taking that content and blasting it out to the world using either an interest-based audience or something like a lookalike audience. If you use Facebook, you can say, "I want people that look like this." You upload a list of your customers, you upload your email newsletter list, you upload some kind of list for them to start with, and then they'll find people that are similar to those customers to broaden your reach. And as you broaden your reach and you get more exposure, you want to introduce those people to the content that you just created. So number 1, produce content. Number 2, try ads. Number 3 would be borrowing authority from someone else. So again, when I first started, I'm holding up all these books like The E-Myth and Scaling Up, and now I'm having conversations with Vern Harnish from Scaling Up and Michael E. Gerber from The E-Myth. But it started with just borrowing the authority of their books and saying, "Hey, I'm a huge fan of this. How about you? If you've read the book, you understand the message." So I'm using that as kind of a launching point that I can then introduce my own product. And you can do the same thing. You can do this by setting up interviews with people. If you start a podcast, it's really easy to get people on your podcast. And then when someone's scrolling through their feed and they see you, a stranger, and then some celebrity maybe that they're familiar with, they're more likely to stop and get exposure to you. So number 3 is borrow authority. Number 4 is curate content. So you're still creating content, but then you also want to curate it. This could be like a newsletter roundup that you just send out the most relevant news that's happening in your industry. And then you become an expert curator that people look to for that kind of information. Really easy to build up a newsletter audience. That's what I did before I started my consulting business. I was recommending cool software tools that people could use to be more efficient. And it was just curating that content to create value for my customers. So number 4, curate content. And then number 5 way that you can build exposure beyond your brand is to generously refer other people, generously recommend other people. What I mean by that is, when was the last time you gave someone an unprompted recommendation on LinkedIn? Just go through your LinkedIn, recommend everybody for something they're good at, give them some public praise, because there's this reciprocity that comes back to you, and you'll be surprised at the referrals, the recommendations that come back to you telling you what you're good at. Then you take that stuff and turn it into case studies or testimonial content that you can share broadly with the world. So those are 5 ways that you can grow your sphere of influence, grow your exposure, because if you're just based on word of mouth, you might be in trouble.